The observation deck of the Galactic Research Station hummed with nervous energy as dozens of alien scientists crowded around the holographic display. They watched in stunned silence as the human specimen, designated Lena Carter, approached the containment field that barely held back the deadliest predator in known space. "She's going to die," chittered Zelthor, the mantid researcher, his compound eyes reflecting the blue glow of the screens. "Why did Command approve this experiment?" Dr. Vexili, a crystalline from the Andromeda sector, pulsed with anxious orange light. The humans insisted. They claimed their species could handle the Corvash encounter protocol. I warned them this particular specimen was from their lower economic caste, with no combat training whatsoever. On the screen, Lena Carter stood barefoot in the reinforced chamber, wearing nothing but the simple gray jumpsuit provided by the station. Her brown hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and her thin frame spoke of years of inadequate nutrition on Earth's overcrowded streets. She had volunteered for this mission for one reason: the payment would feed her younger siblings for a year. Behind the shimmering containment barrier, Corvash stirred. The creature was a nightmare made flesh, a perfect killing machine that had evolved on a death world even harsher than Earth. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, his body was covered in midnight black scales that could deflect plasma fire. 6 eyes glowed crimson in the dim light, and his jaw, lined with triple rows of serrated teeth, could crush Duralloy with ease. Forearms ending in razor-sharp talons flexed as he detected the human's presence. "Lower the barrier," Lena said quietly, her voice transmitted through the chamber's audio system. "This is madness," Zelthor protested. "The Corvash has killed 17 trained warriors from various species. What makes the humans think this? This child can survive?" But the order had already been given. The containment field flickered and died. Corvash moved with terrifying speed, crossing the chamber in 2 massive bounds. The alien scientists recoiled from their screens, unable to watch the inevitable slaughter. But Vexili kept her crystalline eyes fixed on the display, her scientific curiosity overriding her horror. And then something impossible happened. Lena didn't run. She didn't even flinch. As Corvash loomed over her, his hot breath washing over her face with the smell of sulfur and death, she simply tilted her head and smiled. "Hey there, big guy," she said softly. "You're scared too, aren't you?" Corvash froze, his talons mere centimeters from the human's fragile throat. In his 6 eyes, confusion replaced the hunting instinct that had guided him for his entire life. Lena slowly raised her hand, palm out, fingers slightly curled. It was a gesture she'd learned on the streets of New Detroit, calming the feral dogs that roamed the abandoned districts. The same dogs that everyone else feared, that the city wanted to exterminate, but that Lena had befriended by recognizing the fear beneath their aggression. "You're not a monster," she whispered. "You're just alone and afraid in a place that doesn't make sense. I know how that feels." In the observation deck, pandemonium erupted. "She's using some kind of human psychic ability," Zelthor shrieked. "Impossible," Vexili breathed. "Humans have no psionic capabilities. This is something else." Lena took a small step forward. Corvash's muscles tensed, but he didn't strike. Something in the human's body language, in the gentle tone of her voice, in the absolute absence of fear scent that usually emanated from prey, confused every instinct he possessed. "May I?" Lena asked, gesturing toward him. Slowly, impossibly, Corvash lowered his massive head. Lena reached up and placed her small hand on his scaled snout, just above his primary eyes. She began to stroke gently, her touch firm but careful. The scales were warm beneath her palm, like sun-heated stone. "There you go," she murmured. "Nobody's going to hurt you. Not while I'm here." A sound emerged from Corvash's throat, a deep rumbling that the station's computers initially classified as a threat display. But Vexili recognized it for what it truly was: a purr. The apex predator of the Corvash homeworld was purring like an earth cat. "By the void," Zelthor whispered. "What are we witnessing?" Lena continued petting Corvash, her movements slow and rhythmic. She'd spent her entire life reading body language, surviving on the streets by understanding when someone was truly dangerous versus when they were just posturing out of fear. It was a skill born of necessity, honed by years of living in places where one wrong move meant death. "Your scales are beautiful," she told Corvash, running her fingers along the ridge of his skull, "like obsidian. I bet they're great for protection, huh? Nothing can hurt you from the outside. She paused, her voice dropping to barely a whisper. But inside? Inside, you're just as vulnerable as the rest of us. Korvash's 6 eyes slowly closed. He lowered himself to the ground, his enormous body settling with a heavy thud that shook the chamber. His head came to rest in front of Lena, who sat down cross-legged and continued her gentle ministrations. The observation deck had gone completely silent. "Log this," Vexili commanded, her voice filled with awe. "The human-designated Lena Carter has achieved something no warrior, no diplomat, no scientist in the Galactic Council has ever accomplished. She has tamed a Korvash through nothing but empathy. But how?" Selthor demanded. "She has no special training, no resources, no advantages." Vexili's form pulsed with a thoughtful green glow. "Perhaps that's exactly why she succeeded. She has lived her entire life understanding fear, isolation, and the desperate need for connection. She recognized those same emotions in a creature we only saw as a monster." In the chamber below, Lena rested her head against Korvash's scaled hide, and the mighty predator's breathing slowed to a contented rhythm. For the first time since his capture, he was at peace. "Humanity," Vexili said quietly, broadcasting to the council chambers across the galaxy, "is not remarkable because of their technology, their weapons, or their conquest. They are remarkable because even their poorest, their most vulnerable, possess a capacity for compassion that can bridge the gap between species we thought incompatible." She paused, watching as Lena whispered something that made Korvash's eyes flutter open briefly before closing again in trust. "Perhaps," Vexili concluded, "we have much to learn from the humans after all."